Hello, I'm Tom Bancroft, and I'm a character designer. I'm a Disney animator, director. I've done a lot of different things, but today we're going to talk about character design. This is somebody's artwork from China that has taken my online classes, and as you can see, they're very good at illustration and color work. And I want to get back to the drawing part, though, to the actual design. Some of these tips that I'm going to give you are for, and I don't know who did this artwork. I'm sorry. The file name is in Mandarin, so I can't read it. But it's well done, as you can see. I just want to kind of look at it and see if there's ways that we can design things maybe a little bit more appealing. A couple things might be just sort of drawing things to think about. But also look at the character design, and does it feel like what you're trying to go for? So I don't really know what this artist was trying to accomplish other than having three characters that are in a world of some kind, and they're all animal characters, obviously. But I don't know their personalities. I don't really know their roles in the story. He looks very kind of more educated and kind of, very official looking. And this guy, the cat over here, looks very goofy. Candace over here, this hamster, also feels kind of goofy and innocent, I would guess. So, but that's about all I can tell. And so here's a couple of the things I'm going to talk about. So this is the design. I'm going to put some opacity over it so that I can kind of draw over it. And you can see what I'm doing. I'll just knock it back. And I'm going to use my red pencil, digital pencil. So one thing is, excuse me, I see that they kind of feel strangely not very proportionate. For a hamster, this is a huge hamster compared to a cat, compared to a bird. And obviously that is a whole nother thing. Should they look the same size? Like a cat would be much bigger than a hamster. And that bird, depending on what kind of bird that is, that bird could even be bigger than the cat. We're not going to go there. We're going to live in a world where they'll all be kind of proportionate together. But that still makes it feel like this cat should be larger and the hamster should be smaller. I think the cat and the bird look pretty good proportioned together. But a hamster, I just feel like it should be smaller. So that's one thing I'm going to address. The other thing is I don't really think that that looks like a hamster very much. This is what a hamster traditionally looks like. And so therefore, I think we can make that hamster just have a little bit more of that kind of cute hamster feel. It looks like a cat right now. So let's separate those two. I'm going to play with the hamster first. So obviously it's big and fat and chubby, just like our real hamster is. What's missing is that feeling of the snout. And I like the two teeth up front here that this artist has, but again, it's kind of a cat muzzle. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to play with it. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I like this sort of round. I'm going to make it also a 3/4 view, and so I'm trying to make a little bit more of a snout. By the way, hamsters also have very round ears. Most of these are very round. You can see it there and here. And so they're like little round ears. So pointy ears are out. We don't want that. So I'm going to immediately do kind of more roundish ears here. I'm going to think about maybe doing a little bit more of a U-shaped nose. That's very hamsterish. We're still going to keep the big eyes that this artist has. And, like a little tiny mouth is fun. And, of course, the big hamster teeth up front. So let's just start working that in there. I'm guessing it's a girl hamster. But I like this. Maybe there's a little bridge here. And then this is just sort of a U shape, kind of a nose. There's the little muzzle here. And teeth. And we can now round this out, make these kind of pudgy, sort of fun cheeks here. Put a smaller head up here. And again, round, tiny little round ears. And we could now add that hair back on that she had, or well, the artist, male or female. And so add maybe a couple little hairs here. That's kind of fun. And now maybe the body too has a little bit more of that really round kind of hamster feel. I'm going to make the arms a little smaller, so still holding, I don't know, this piece of paper, but maybe really feel like it's, I don't know, gripping it a little bit more. But like hands that are maybe a little bit more, or arms that are more proportionate to the body. So really short arms. Maybe feet that feel like they're standing a little bit more. I like to see the little bit of tail too, so there'd be a little hamster tail back here. Oh, and it looks like there's a ponytail, right, to the, so let's give that little pony, we'll just, I don't know, I guess there's a arm here. Yeah, something like that. Little overalls. And then we'll put the ponytail back here. But maybe make it a little bit bigger of a presence, and then it tapers down. Okay, so again, trying to go for more of a hamster feel, and I think we did. We're at least further away from a cat. And I like this proportions too, by the way, to these other two characters. Might even make it a little bit smaller. Let's just grab it really quick and reduce it just a tad. Go even cuter. Because small is cute, right? Okay. And then next up is the cat. So the cat is just a circle body, which is really interesting. I don't know if it doesn't feel like it fits the other characters, and that's my bigger concern. I kind of like it, but so let's just assume that this cat is supposed to be kind of big and maybe strong, because look how big these arms are. So I don't want to change that. I do want to kind of, here's something I want to talk about. That face on here feels like the face is coming straight at us, and yet there's elements here that feel like they're turned at the same time, like it's a 3/4. So it feels like it's straight, flat, and 3/4. And so I'm just going to make it 3/4. Anytime your character is looking off to the left or to the right, in this case he's looking off to the left, it doesn't make sense to kind of have the face looking straight at you and have the eyeballs doing all the work. So I want to change the head, make it looking a little bit more in the direction that the eyes are looking. And I think that often looks a little bit better. So I'm going to go, I'm going to raise up the head a little bit. I'm going to put it up here more. We'll go a little bit more dimensional on those ears, meaning this one's smaller and this one's further away or closer, so it's bigger. And again, I'm not going to change that cat shape too much. I'm just trying to change the angle of it so that nose is here. We'll keep the eyes real round and real big. There's nothing wrong with this. It's not a very original design, I would say. It's fairly basic and shape oriented, and we've seen stuff kind of like it before. But there's certainly nothing wrong with it either. It's a fun drawing and design, and this now the muzzle is going to be a little bit more 3/4, and I'm just going to do a very quick version of this because I'm not really changing it that much. I'm just sort of changing the angle a little bit. So we'll say that this is our cat face. Again, trying to make these ears just a little more dimensional. That one's a little further away. But now we want those triangle ears because it is a cat. It's not a hamster. Okay, but it's a little higher on there. And why I did that, I just don't want to have this hunchback. To me, that I don't know if that's part of the character, but I just want to go with sort of a bigger, maybe he is kind of a big character, muscular, whatever, strong. And again, overalls here for some reason. But I'm not going to change that too much. I'm going to make it maybe just a little flatter here and a little rounder here, because that to me is a better, more interesting shape. But again, I'll keep those arms nice and big like they have it. And we'll even kind of have him pointing here, but now he's pointing a little bit above the head of the other character there. And a little more flow in the arm. I want it to kind of flow through here. And so I'm thinking about that. I like the legs kind of, and I'm just going to bend those legs just a bit, but I like them being kind of spread apart. I'm making him look a little more boot-like. And of course that nice big, now I think this is a good opportunity to go a little thicker on the tail, have a little bit more interest at the end of it. And so I'm changing that because see, it was a little bit more even. I just kind of pushed what was already there. I just made this a little bit more thicker at the end. Okay, so there's, and that's a fun character. Maybe give it a little bit of a neck. Now for the bird here, again, I don't know, it says it's a swallow. I don't know swallows very well, and I didn't do any research. So I think it's working pretty well. I'll say one thing, that when I look at the eyes here, it feels like they're the same size, and if anything, again, because it's a 3/4 angle of the head, that eye feels, this eye, screen left, looks really far away from the nose. And the other one is right up against the nose. So it doesn't make any sense. And so that is definitely something I'm going to want to fix. I might, just for design reasons, want to put the eyes closer together, kind of like what this one is, and maybe even a little bit smaller. It's going to make this character look a little older too, which I think is probably what this artist wanted anyway. So now we have the eyes a little more proportionate to each other. They're spaced more together, but I also made them a little shorter. And I'm going to kind of have that same kind of look, but I'm going to have them looking back at us with this sort of, and I think this is sort of the expression that they wanted, was this sort of cocky, thinks he's better than everybody else kind of an expression. So we will kind of add a little sly grin. But I'm going to go maybe even a little bit longer with that beak, and really make this beak on the bottom a little smaller. Again, I don't know if this is what swallows look like, so I apologize if I'm messing it up. But let's make that hair tuft kind of more a part of the design. Maybe it's coming right off of, and let's make it a little bit bigger of a statement, which makes it, but meaning let's make it a little bit bigger of a shape too. But I'm mostly just playing with the shapes. Okay, so like, does that feel a little bit more interesting? And I like the colors. There's sort of these color shapes in here that can be added still. That'll make that visually a little bit more interesting. But maybe now we go down to a thinner neck, and that way this collar and bow tie is a little bit more here, because again, we got to keep that 3/4 angle. This is starting to feel like it's coming right at us, that bow tie, like it's straight on, and it needs to kind of go along that middle angle there. So I'm moving that bow tie over, trying to create a collar here underneath that is nice. Let's see, this feels pretty good. The jacket, It's a little shorter in the front, and then it's longer in the back. And so I'm trying to keep my eye on that. There should be a collar here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of a collar. And I think the artist kind of left it out, or I missed it somehow. And here's that vest. Let's make the vest just a little longer. 1, 2, 3 buttons. Just looks a little better. It's nice, cleaner. Now I'm going pretty sketchy, but I'm thinking about, like, does that jacket go around that way? So I'm thinking about those angles and trying to see that ellipse. And there's where it would hit the back. And that's the curves here. So I get those curves correct. It looks like that shoulder is just, or that arm is just around the back. So I'm gonna keep that. Throw that back here. Maybe there's a little bit of shoulder right here. And I don't know what this is doing, this arm here, but we'll just, and look, I'm doing remember in the last video I shared, curving outward instead of inward, okay? So I'm doing a concave, but you can see that this was convex, but that arm is going away from us. And so I'm trying to correct that as I go. We'll get a little bit more of a thumb and maybe, you know, kind of a little bit more of a shape of hands here. All right. And then I'm going to give the butt just a little, the back part, the rear part here. Oops, I'm drawing on the wrong layer now. Darn it. So I'm making this wider back here because it feels like he's a little tube-like, and so I want to get him to be, you know, have some variety. So he's a little thinner in the chest here, and then we'll make him, you know, a little bit thicker back here. So give him a little bit larger behind back here. And look how these feathers are. 1, 2, 3. They're all very much kind of even. So you never want to do even shapes. So let's have one be a little bit longer. Maybe the next one is really small. And then there's like these two are overlapped, but that's medium sized. So it's more like that kind of a design. And that has a lot more shape variety. It's a little more interesting. Okay, so back here, and then that tail is going to be hanging back here. The tail of the jacket. The other tail of the jacket, by the way, would probably be more like here. And now let's make these sort of shapes a little bit bigger too. And then we can go down into, but I'm going thin to thick here. I'm on purpose. I'm trying to add a little bit more shape variety to these feet. I would round these off. They look like claws, and he's supposed to be a fun character, so why not make them a little bit more rounded off shapes rather than so sharp. I don't want them to look sharp. If this was going to be a doll or a plush toy one day, you want it to be cute and kind of more lovable, because I don't think he's a bad guy. Okay, so where did we end here? Let's put up this opacity here. Okay, so these are the 3 that I came up with. Just trying to do the things that I talked about at the beginning, which was get them to feel like they're more all together in the same world, and can kind of relate to each other size-wise. That's really important to get their proportions to work better. And then other things were just trying to push the design and trying to get a little bit more on the drawing side, some things that would make them more appealing, like making her feel more like a hamster here in the middle, but also getting the drawing of that face on the cat, and then really just the general design on the bird, trying to push a few things, get a little bit more personality out of it, but also some more interesting shapes. Anyway, this is what I came up with. I really hope that you enjoyed this and got something out of it, and keep drawing from the heart. Thank you.